Battleships were the largest warships that utilized gun-based weaponry as their main armament. Hundreds of feet in length and displayed thousands of tons, their size allowed them to carry the largest guns and the thickest armor. While battleships are massive weapons, some were larger than others. In today's video, we will be showing you the top 10 most powerful battleships of all time. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 10. King George V class, 45,360 long tons. The 5 battleships of the King George V class kick off our list at the number 10 spot. The King George V class was the largest and most powerful of the British dreadnoughts that were in service during the Second World War. During the interwar period, between World Wars I and II, the world's naval powers were limited to battleships of no more than 35,000 tons. The Royal Navy went incredibly far to ensure that the King George V class abided by the treaty and even equipped them with 14-inch guns in an effort to get other nations to follow suit. Number 9. Littorio class, 45,485 long tons. The number 9 spot on our list belongs to the Littorio class battleships of the Regia Marina. The dreadnoughts of this class were the largest, fastest, and most powerful battleships of the Italian Navy. We will focus on Roma, the third ship of the class, as she was slightly longer and heavier than her two sisters. During the interwar period, Italy had 70,000 tons allotted to them for new battleship construction. Though Italy tried to develop 2 ships of 35,000 tons, they ultimately decided to build 2 battleships of 40,000 tons, ignoring the treaty. The first 2 ships, Littorio and Vittorio Veneto, were laid down in the mid-1930s. Number 8. Naggato class, 45,950 long tons. The number 8 spot on our list belongs to a battleship that put on more weight over her career than any other ship featured on the list. The Japanese Naggato class was among the largest battleships at the time of their commissioning and grew to rival new battleships launched over 2 decades later. When first entering service, the 2 Naggato class battleships were the most powerful battleships afloat and the first to mount 16-inch guns. With a speed greater than 25 knots and carrying 8 16.1-inch guns, they were formidable warships. The Naggato class was originally 708 inches, 215.8 meters, long with a beam of 95 inches, 29 meters. Number 7. South Dakota class, 46,200 long tons. Coming in at number 7 on our list, we have the South Dakota class battleships of the United States Navy. These warships were originally designed to be smaller and more compact than the North Carolina class battleships. However, they were still large enough to be ranked among the largest battleships of all time. Though the United States was happy with its North Carolina class battleships, they did not like the fact that its armor was incapable of resisting its own 16-inch guns. Seeking a better protected design, the South Dakota class was born. Featuring the same 9.16 guns and 27-knot speed of the North Carolina class, the South Dakota was more compact. This allowed armor to be better concentrated over the vitals, improving protection. 4 ships of the class were built, serving throughout the Second World War. Number 6. North Carolina class, 46,700 long tons. Though they proceeded with the South Dakota class battleships, the 2 ships of the North Carolina class were larger, earning them the number 6 spot on our list. North Carolina and her sister, U.S. Washington, were the first ships of the final generation of United States battleship design. The United States began developing the North Carolina class back in 1935. Development was chaotic, with several dozen proposals being examined in an effort to remain within treaty limits. The final design was for a battleship capable of 27 knots with 12 14-inch guns and armor to resist 14-inch shells. However, the ships were designed to be able to swap the 14-inch guns out for 9 larger 16-inch guns in the event Japan refused to sign the Second London Naval Treaty. Number 5. Richelieu class, 48,180 long tons. The Richelieu class battleships of the Marine Nationale had an interesting history. Richelieu was able to see service during World War II, while Jeanne d'Arc was largely a floating gun battery. Though Jeanne Bart was launched in 1940, she would not see her final completion until 15 years later. The long years of modification resulted in a radically different ship than her sister, making her grow to the fifth largest battleship on our list. France went to great lengths to ensure the Richelieu class fit within the treaty requirements. Several features of the class, from the all-forward arrangement of her 8-15 inches, guns housed in 2 quadruple turrets, to her internal sloped armor belt, were designed to reduce weight. Number 4. HMS Vanguard, 51,420 long tons. Number 4 on our list is represented by HMS Vanguard, the last battleship of the Royal Navy, as well as the last battleship to ever be launched. Fast, well-armed, and extremely well-protected, Vanguard is easily one of the best battleships ever to sail the sea. Knowing the threat of the newest German and Japanese battleships, the Royal Navy had already designed the powerful Lion-class battleships. However, it soon became apparent that they could not be launched in time, leaving the Royal Navy at a disadvantage. It was decided to take a modified Lion-class hull and equip it with leftover 15 inches guns from World War I to produce a battleship that would be available sooner. Number 3. Bismarck-class, 51,800 long tons. Coming in at the third place, we have the Bismarck-class battleships of the German Kriegsmarine. However, it's not the famous Bismarck that represents the class, but her sister Tirpitz. Modifications made to her during the war increased her displacement until she became the largest battleship used by a European country. Throughout the 1930s, the German Navy examined several battleship designs that remained within treaty limits. However, they eventually decided to build a much more balanced and traditional design that exceeded 40,000 tons. 2 ships were built, Bismarck and Tirpitz. Featuring 8-15 inches guns and exceptionally strong armor, they were the most powerful battleships in Europe at the time of their launch. Number 2. Iowa-class, 57,540 long tons. The last battleships completed by the United States Navy, the Iowa-class battleships were larger, faster, and more heavily armored than all previous U.S. dreadnoughts. Their impressive displacement of over 57,000 long tons nets them the second-place spot on our list. Designed to counter the fast battleships of the Japanese Kongo class, the Iowa class were designed with an emphasis on high speeds in addition to armor and firepower. Capable of speeds greater than 32.5 knots, the Iowa class needed to be larger in order to accommodate the huge power plant and greater freeboard. Armor was similar to the preceding South Dakota class, though the firepower was enhanced through the use of 9 16 inches or 50 guns, a more powerful model compared to those aboard the earlier dreadnoughts. Designed for a standard displacement of 45,000 long tons, as time went on the ships got ever heavier due to more weaponry and electronics. Number 1. Yamato class, 71,659 long tons. Finally, number 1. This position is filled by the battleships that remain the largest of their type, the mighty Yamato class. Being the battleships that were designed to be larger and more powerful than any other, it should come as no surprise that the Yamato class reigns supreme as the largest battleships ever built. These Leviathans were designed to outgun and outlast all competition. To do this, they carried 9 massive 18.1 inches, 460 millimeters guns and 16 inches, 410 millimeters of belt armor. Even with the large guns and thick armor, the battleships were relatively fast, with speeds exceeding 27 knots. Only 2 battleships of this class, Yamato and Musashi, were completed. So guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.